Jungkook responds firmly to his mother's rejection of his girlfriend. Is this relationship on the brink? In a rare and sharply scrutinized statement, BTS's Jungkook has finally spoken out regarding a sensitive issue that has recently become the subject of heated discussion among the media and fans alike: his mother's rejection of his girlfriend. This statement not only reflects his personal stance, but also reveals the complex pressure he faces between family loyalty and emotional commitment to the relationship he is currently pursuing. The question now is no longer whether his mother approves of the relationship, but how Jungkook positions himself in a conflict laden with traditional values, public pressure, and internal family tensions. The context of this event began when rumors about Jungkook's mother's dislike for his partner began to circulate through various social media platforms, online communities, and unofficial reports that only grew more wildly speculative. Though initially dismissed as unfounded gossip, the situation escalated dramatically when a source allegedly close to the family stated that Jungkook's mother did not give her blessing, and had even directly informed the woman in question that she was not yet ready to accept her presence in the family. That statement became the primary trigger that fueled widespread speculation among the public about the possible end of the idol's romantic relationship. Jungkook, who has long been known for keeping his private life tightly guarded and avoiding public displays of emotion, this time chose a different approach. In an official statement released through his agency and confirmed by several credible media outlets, Jungkook revealed that he deeply regrets his mother's stance, though he still respects family perspectives as an important part of his life. Nevertheless, he also emphasized that the relationship he is in is not merely an impulsive emotional decision, but a commitment built with full awareness of its consequences and personal responsibility. This statement drew mixed reactions. Most fans expressed full support for Jungkook's mature and open attitude, while others felt it demonstrated how complicated a public figure's position can be in balancing personal desires with social and cultural expectations. Many also interpreted it as an indication that the relationship had entered a serious phase, possibly even approaching marriage, which apparently has not yet been fully welcomed by the family. In a broader social analysis, the conflict between Jungkook and his mother also illustrates generational tensions in views of relationships and marriage. On one hand, the older generation still maintains conservative standards, whether in terms of background, propriety, or expectations for an ideal daughter-in-law. On the other hand, the younger generation, including Jungkook, is increasingly vocal in asserting autonomy in choosing partners without total submission to family wishes. This situation highlights cultural tension that is not only relevant in the context of celebrity life but also mirrors broader social realities in South Korean society. When asked whether he would continue the relationship even without family approval, Jungkook answered clearly, "I will continue this relationship with integrity and respect, while maintaining communication with my mother. This is not about winning or losing, but about finding a middle ground without sacrificing anyone's feelings." This statement affirms his position as someone who does not want to act impulsively, but also refuses to give in to unfair external pressure. The agency also provided a comment that Jungkook's statement was a personal decision made after a long discussion process. They asked the public not to further escalate the situation with wild speculation, and emphasized that all parties are working to find the best path, while preserving each other's dignity. Though the identity of the woman in question was not explicitly mentioned, many fans speculated that she comes from outside the celebrity world, possibly explaining the mother's concerns regarding exposure and privacy risks. However, in recent developments, a senior entertainment journalist with reported insider access revealed that Jungkook's mother is not entirely opposed to the relationship, but rather feels she does not know the woman well enough. This suggests the possibility of reconciliation between the two sides remains open, provided the process is approached with openness and trust. Regardless of the truth behind the claims, one thing is certain: Jungkook now finds himself in a very delicate position, between preserving family peace and fighting for the right to love whom he chooses. Not all celebrities are willing to show such vulnerability in public, and his stance can be seen as a sign of emotional maturity rarely found among public figures who typically choose silence on private matters. In conclusion, this case opens up a much deeper discussion than just the private relationship of an idol. It is a reflection of social reality, how young people, even those at the peak of global fame, are not immune from family dynamics and traditional values that continue to shape the framework of societal thinking. The questions now are no longer just who is right, but whether society, including the media and fans, can give public figures the space to make life choices on their own terms, without pressure, speculation, or unrealistic expectations. Will Jungkook succeed in bridging these differing views? Or will the relationship he is fighting for be sacrificed to maintain family harmony? As of now, no one knows for sure. But one thing is clear: the world is no longer just watching a K-pop star, but a man fighting to uphold his personal values in the unrelenting glare of the spotlight. Jungkook and his mother's rejection. Is this a real conflict or just media sensation? Amid the public frenzy over Jungkook's open statement on his mother's disapproval of his romantic relationship, a more fundamental question must be seriously raised. Did this event actually happen? Or is it merely a media construct deliberately designed to trigger emotional waves in digital traffic for economic gain, popularity, or even manipulation of public perception? It's important to remember that most of the information currently circulating does not come from officially verified statements via press conferences or institutional documents. Instead, the bulk of the claims stem from TikTok clips, speculative Twitter comments, short YouTube uploads, and anonymous narratives spreading through gossip accounts online. So let us reflect together. How valid is the information being shared? Have we become part of an opinion-spreading current that may not even be accurate? This consideration is not meant to discredit the sources, but to reinforce the importance of skepticism in handling emotional and viral content. In today's fast-paced digital society, even unverified news can spread rapidly, trigger extreme public reactions, and create collective narratives that are difficult to correct afterward. Then, has the public, especially fans, become too easily convinced? Have we grown accustomed to believing narratives carefully crafted to stir our emotions, forgetting that some information might be deliberately manipulative? If we examine closely, much of the content related to this issue bears hallmarks of clickbait: sensational headlines, emotional thumbnails, and dramatic narratives without strong evidence or direct clarification from those involved. We often find so-called inside sources, with no revealed identity, as if possessing exclusive access to Jungkook's private life. At this point, critical questions must be asked. Could this all be part of a systematic effort to build a public imagination far removed from reality? Even if the event has elements of truth, we must still ask: why has this private issue become such widespread public consumption? Does this reflect our collective failure to respect the boundaries between a celebrity's personal domain and society's expectations for public transparency? Furthermore, is it possible that this narrative, intentionally or not, has been used by certain parties to create polarization, attract massive attention, and capitalize on fans' emotional involvement? At this point, we also cannot rule out the possibility that the narrative is indeed true, that Jungkook is genuinely caught in a dilemma between affection for his mother and commitment to his partner. But even if it is, we still must ask: is this information appropriate for wide public exposure? Is there not an ethical breach in dissecting the private life of someone who never invited public intrusion into their most intimate affairs? It is crucial to note that not all media maintain journalistic integrity. In many cases, social media operates based on algorithms, not ethics. What matters is engagement, clicks, comments, shares, not truth. Therefore, let us pause and ask: does this article, video, or tweet truly inform us with facts, or is it merely playing with our emotions? We do not intend to shape opinion or conclude that this news is false. However, we feel the need to invite you, the readers and viewers, to reflect critically. Do not let yourself become a victim of digital sensationalism. Do not let your sympathy be exploited for the benefit of certain parties. Always ask: who benefits from this news going viral? What's the motive behind spreading this information? And most importantly, have I verified the source? As wise readers, you have the right, even the obligation, to question every narrative you encounter. Not everything that goes viral is true. Not everything that appears emotional is sincere. And not every report that sounds convincing is truly grounded in reality. Thank you for watching.